right. You're right.
Yeah. So
Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Ducky. Ah, thank you for the raid. So, in this, we're going to grab VS Code. We're going to start off completely from scratch, from nothing at all. This is a fresh user account. All I've got on here is OBS. Here's hoping I got OBS set up correctly. You're very welcomes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If OBS is set up incorrectly, if any of the scenes are set up incorrectly, if the audio is off, just let me know, because I switched I switched to different user accounts and I didn't realize OBS didn't carry across. So also bought a bunch of new assets today, so we have new fancy like be right back screen and such. So like boom, fancy, and hopefully the audio for the hopefully the audio is correct, like in volume level for this. because I have a little storm going on in the background. But yeah. Okay. Yes, Node. We're going to learn JavaScript. We're going to do some Node. Might do some Docker. Maybe some Docker Compose. What else could we do? Just do a bunch of stuff. Stuff that I do on like a day-to-day basis that I think a lot of you guys could probably learn from. And it's honestly really not that complicated. It's just there's not really any good resources available for it. Also, hopefully my mic's coming across well. I realized once I did OBS, I had to redo my filters and shit, so... Okay. Welcome, welcome, JFace. Let's try this. There we go. So we're gonna go grab VS Code. Yep, that's fine, that's fine. VS Code. No freaking notepad. God damn. If we want Ducky, imagine not using VS Code, exactly. Next stream, I'm actually going to have Discord set up properly, so we'll all be able to jump into a Discord and you'll be able to chat on stream, which would be nice. Okay, so VS Code, let's just pop out of this. We are... Yeah, that's cool, 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 cool. Dark, cool, mark done. Let's get rid of the welcome page. Perfect. So, first things we're going to do. Control-Shift-P if you're on Windows. Command-Shift-P if you're on Mac. Linux, I don't know. Probably Control-Shift-P, I'd assume. Or some other weird keyboard shortcut that you've set up yourself. Get this command palette up. After this is up, we're just going to type in extensions, install extensions. Fuck Notepad. Fuck Notepad in its entirety. We are getting you to 100% and you are installing motherfucking VS Code. It is happening. You just need to accept the inevitable. Okay, so Node. What the fuck should we grab? Well, we probably want ESLint. This is basically going to be your mother. And every time you do literally anything wrong, she's going to come bitch to you exactly what you've done wrong. So it's going to be great. Install this bitch. Vim isn't too bad. My only issue is I get stuck. And then what? I close the file and have to use something else like Nano to edit it because I still haven't fucking worked out how to get out of Vim. Ducky, if you install and go back to Notepad, we're hitting the next motherfucking target. I don't care. We are getting you to use VS Code, whether you like it or not. I will find a way. I'll put it in some mandate and get your government to vote it in, requiring you to use it. All programmers within Ducky's provenance will have to use VS Code. Okay. ESLint's installed. Sweet. What else should we grab? Let's grab GitHub theme. So this is going to be similar to what GitHub uses on their own site. The main reason I'm going to grab this is it comes with colorblind modes, which is what I need. Welcome, Luigi. Oh, wow, that is freaking bright. So we have all these different modes that we can go through. And my preferred is this one. We should also probably grab... This one's also really nice to grab. This allows you to see pull requests and all that jazz in your sidebar here. Now, we're not going to use all these right away because I have to go and sign into all these, and I'm not doing that on stream because knowing me, since I've had a little bit to drink, I'm going to end up accidentally like putting my password up on stream. Bad idea. Okay. So, why don't we start off with some code? If we, what is it to bring up a new terminal at the moment? Control Shift that. Let's go change that because that can annoy the crap out of me. Settings, UI. And I'm just going to go view. Oh, it's not in settings, it's in keyboard shortcuts. What am I doing? View terminal. I think it's this one. Yep, this is it. Okay, I really don't care about you, so go away. You do not have to do what I'm doing right now, by the way. This is just me making a change so then I can have my editor the way I usually use it. That's better. Control Shift A being able to open terminal and whatnot. So, we have terminal, we have this. What do we need? Oh, we need node. Let's go grab nodejs. Actually, let's grab NVM Windows instead. So, for node, there's a fuckload of versions. There's version 1, 2, 3, all the way up to currently version 18. We will be using version 18. Version 12 and 14 sometimes gets used in a little older projects. Version 16 is probably what most people are using. So, like, if we go and check Node.js, LTS. So, we'll be using 18. And we can see it is July, mid of July 2022. So, we're just like here-ish. So we'll currently be in current and we're going to be going to active soon. I'm just going to use this instead of 16 because it's going to go out by the end of the year. So we'll just go straight to this one. And yeah, some of these ones down here, they might have still been used in old stuff. I have some stuff like that at work that still uses 14. Okay, NVM is amazing. And there's a thing called NVM Windows. It's not the same thing as NVM, but it's close enough. Essentially what it does is it allows you to install multiple versions of Node. So we're just going to grab the download link. It should be installer. Just accept the UAC prompt for that. Install all of that jazz. Cool beans. Okay, so then if we open up PowerShell as administrator. From this, we can then go and switch the node version we want. So if we go NVM list, you can see which version we're using. So NVM use 18.3.0. You probably won't have them there. I only have them there because I have another user account installed on my computer. So what you would probably have to do is remote ls. No. NVM ls remote. No. What the fuck is the command? Did they change it again? What is it that they changed it to? Okay, I guess I don't even have it on this one. On the other version of NVM, you can see which versions are available to install, but I guess you would just do NVM install 18.3.0, and then it would go and install that. But if we ran that, we've already got it installed. Okay, whatever. We've got it installed. Node should be working. Yay, 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 yay. The C local rent. Bar charts, Yomi is a math major. Yeah, Node's kind of like all over the joint. They say they have a actual timeline for LTS and all that jazz, but like this has only really gotten proper like right here. Everything before this was just all over the fucking joint. Yeah. So it is what it is. Also, I have a YouTube channel. You should go like sub to that. Okay, so we've got Node installed, so we should be able to go Node in here. Nope. What if we boop and then reopen? Okay, well that's annoying. That's not PowerShell. I think that's the problem. I feel like there's something I've just forgotten. Oh, that's right. You have to go run this. That should... Let's see if it pops up now. We might have to reopen VS Code. Yeah, we might have to reopen VS Code. Oh, we don't want it in that folder. Let's make a directory called code. Let's go into the code directory. And then let's just open VS Code. That just opens VS Code in this directory. Boop. Do we have Node now? Hey, we have Node. Process, exit, 0. Okay. We have Node. We just needed to, you need to go and run this in a PowerShell that's administrator. And that allows then Node to run shit. Not Node, PowerShell to run stuff. What is it, like unicorn prompt or something? No, it's not that. No, it's not high prompt. I don't know what the one is I'm looking for. I had another prompt installed on my other user and I just can't for the life of me think of what the hell it is. But that's fine. We got VS Code. We're good. We can use Node. Woo! Okay. Sorry if I'm rushing this. I will go back through this a little slower back when I remake this. I plan on just kind of going through this to like give myself a guide for what I want to do in my YouTube videos. Okay. So we've got a folder, we've got Node, we've got VS Code, GGGG. Let's go and make another directory called Twitch. We'll send Twitch and we'll go and open VS Code in there instead of our main code directory. Why is VS Code? Oh, VS Code is being run as administrator because we're running PowerShell as an administrator, which we shouldn't have done. Code. Let me go back. There we go. Now it's not running as administrator. Pow, chow, winner. Cool. Okay. Let's create a new file. What we're going to do is we're going to build up a little API. And then maybe we'll drop some view in and we'll use that for the front end. So I'm doing this just completely off the top of my head, winging it. And I'm also drinking a bunch of alcohol, so bear with me. If none of this makes any sense or if I'm starting to like go off on my own track, just like tell me. Okay. So to do this, we probably need Express. That's honestly going to be the easiest freaking way we can do this. No, not generator. Where is hello world? Boop. 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 You go back here, slap this in, save. Rename this to JS. We're going to start with JS and then we'll pop to TypeScript. And then if we go npm I or npm init, we have Node. Wait, what? Okay. That's interesting. We had it there for a second. NVM Windows. Why did... Okay, let's try this one instead. I shouldn't have had to keep the VS Code open as administrator to keep that working. Okay, let's open re. Oh, that's administrator one. No administrator. I feel like this is like a lot harder for new users than it should be. Yeah, no, this feels like a lot harder than it should be for users. Why do we not have, do we seriously not have node unless we're as an administrator? What the fuck is up with that? I bet you if I run. Yeah. I mean, this is on Windows. On Linux is a hell of a lot easier. I would have just like done apt-get and then like sat here for 3 minutes and everything would have been done. God, just fuck off. Let me read what I'm trying to read. Oh, I guess as a non-elevated, you need to then do install. Yeah, this is non-elevated. So no. Why is it so freaking hard to just get node installed? Like, I really shouldn't be having to read through all of this just to get node installed with NVM. I don't want to have to install the main version of it because at that point... At that point, you can't switch between node versions if you need to. Yeah, I restarted everything. Let's try and reinstall it. Let's go no. Oh, fine. Okay. Right, and then if we reopen PowerShell, I swear to God, I'm just gonna end up installing the main node version in a minute if this doesn't work. Yeah, okay, let's just go grab node itself. This really shouldn't be as freaking hard to install. On literally any Unix-based thing, it's just like a command. Windows development does my freaking head in, but the thing is, there's so many people that use Windows that you kind of need to make sure that you... Yeah, let's install Chocolatey just in case. You kind of need to make sure that you like support Windows because otherwise you like lock out a bunch of developers. Come on. There we go. QAC. Oh my God. Just seriously. Okay, let's... Is it really this broken that I just can't use Node now? Unless I run VS Code as administrator. Okay, fuck it. We're just gonna run VS Code as a fucking administrator. I'm over this just not working. This is so fucking broken. Code Twitch. The fact that this is just like this hard to get something this basic working is just beyond me. Yeah, literally only works in administrator. What the fuck is going on with that? Okay, back on track. Fuck Node. Everybody have a drink. Okay. Back on track. Let's run this. What do we get? Oh, Node's not installed. Let's do npm init. This is what I was trying to do in the first freaking place. Package name, Twitch, version 0, description, entry point, test command, get repo. MIT. Sure. Okay, let's go have a look at what package created. Let's change this to source. Let's add a start command. And then we can do npm run, or I guess npm start. Oh, duh. Node. Okay. So now we just need Express. Let's grab Express. And boom. That's it. You now have a web server running. It was that simple. Granted, Node was being an absolute little shit, but like that's the code. So if we go to localhost 3000, I know this, fuck, that's blinding. This is really bright, but look, there is, that's the thing that we did on the page, and now it's there. Wow. Okay, let's get back to 100%. How did I just scrolled straight past 100%. Okay, go me. All right. Now, that's all well and cool. Let's see. Get VirtualBox and tool node. Okay, so the thing is, I literally have a rack of actual servers in an actual rack in the office that's like 10 meters from me. But like, people shouldn't have to install VirtualBox to be able to use Node. It's just Windows. It shouldn't be this fucking difficult. Okay, so you've got Express. Fancy. Now, what happens if you wanted to use ES modules? Let's switch to that. Let's rerun this. And lo and behold, we can't. We can't use a new fancy import syntax, which makes everything really cool and fancy. We have to use the old one. So what we can do to fix that is we can just come in here and be like, so is it module? What is it? Is it type? I think it's type. Type. Yeah, there we go. Module. And now Node's gonna be like, oh, it's a module. And then it just runs. So we can then go a step ahead of that. Now that we have module support, we can now go and add TypeScript. Let's add TypeScript. And then let's add my favorite, absolute favorite bundler, TSUp. TypeScript has its own like bundler and all that jazz built in, but it kind of sucks, so I'm not going to use it. So, yeah, okay, let's just write clear instead. I gotta fix my aliases. Now that we have that, we can change this to a TypeScript file. So this is now a TypeScript file. This is all TypeScript. Whoa, yay, we've now written TypeScript. Go you. If you're following along, you've literally done the same thing. It's just instead of being TypeScript, writing TypeScript, you wrote JavaScript. And then you just rename it. Because lo and behold, JavaScript is valid TypeScript. Who would have guessed? Okay. So this can just change to just index as well. Oh, actually, that could be source index, I guess, because you might ship the source code maybe. To have the build, let's run a build script. What this is going to do is going to convert our TypeScript to JavaScript because we can't run the TypeScript directly. Well, we can, but the things to run it directly kind of suck. So let's just not do that. So instead we're going to run TSUp and then we're just going to ask it to build our file for us. Yeah. So TS is simply just like JS on a fuckload of steroids. Literally anything. You can just be like, oh, look, .ts and it's TypeScript, baby. So if you ever want to put on your resume that you've written TypeScript, literally just rename a bunch of files and post it to GitHub. You're not lying. You're just not exactly telling the truth either, though. Okay, let's build this. Now, npm run will run anything that you have a script. So whatever the name is here is what it will do. So npm run build, it will do this one. So we're going to run this script, and you can see, boop, same thing. What TSUp does, same as what TypeScript does, is it just gets your TypeScript, and then it just puts in this magic black hole, and then JavaScript just pops out. So cool. Now, the thing is, you really don't need to care about it. You just need to know the fact that it happens. One thing I do want to do is I actually want to change this because I don't really like the fact it spits out CGS file. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Google TSUp. We're going to go to this dude's site, and then we're going to go here. This dude right here, my man. I would highly suggest that you become their sponsor. Good dude. He writes a bunch of really fancy stuff. Why is the site taking like its sweet time to load? Oh, sweet baby Jesus, come on. We actually need that page. Come on. Let him fight. Come on. You can do it. Is your site really down, buddy? Buddy. Your site's never down. Okay, do you have any of the info on your... No, it's just on the site, isn't it? Oh, this is going to be annoying. Because what we need is we need the... Okay, these are the same docs. They're just harder to read. Okay, what we need is we need to make it so, CJS. Format, that's what I'm looking for. But where does format go? Okay, actually, let's see if we can Wayback Machine. Oh, did that seriously just load as I typed it in? You gotta be kidding me. Okay. Yeah, give me the absolute latest one. I just want to be able to see what the docs are. What is going on? Oh, 0 blocked on there. So why are you just like not loading? The picture of the docs before that are gonna be way out of date. What is going on? Just like everything's broken on my computer all of a sudden. Oh. Oh, it finally loaded. Okay. I don't care that it doesn't have anything up on here. Come on. What is the... Oh, I know why it is. Okay, let's get this. Let's remove module. Bada boom. Perfect. Okay. So now we should have, so if we delete this and run this. Hey, there we go. Okay, we have our index.js. So this is the actual JavaScript that TypeScript compiles into. Now you're probably wondering, so let's get rid of that freaking... Probably wondering what the hell half this crap is, because like I said that was the JavaScript, and we ran that code, right? Like we straight up ran this as JavaScript before. So like, what gives? This should just work. No, what, like, why does it need all this extra crap? This extra crap basically converts stuff through. So this here allows the module here to be converted from ESM to be imported into as a normal module. That way you can use ESM anywhere you want. Now, the issue is JavaScript is so fractured, or at least Node is, and I guess the front end as well, because they also have this effect, that ESM has come into play, and ES modules are nice and all, and they give us stuff like import, export, static analysis, and a bunch of other nice fancy stuff. But then you've got the issue of CommonJS and ESM interoperability just doesn't seem to be there. But this library that I've used to tee us up, I've had no issues. Everything just works out of the box. Blackmagic, I don't care. Not questioning it. I'm just happy it works. So, if you want to look, that's what it spits out. And you can just run that now. So if we npm run start, you can see now it's working. And if we go to our let's close all these off. I don't need any of them now. It's working just like it did before. So that's that. What's next? Okay. Do we have git? We do have git. Okay. Let's do a git init. This initializes a git repository. So we can now, oh yay. No, that sucks. Let's fix that. Let's add a .git ignore. So we now have a git repository. So this could now be pushed up to GitHub if we wanted. We can now commit on it and all that jazz. We can do pull requests, blah, 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 blah. Pull requests are actually not part of Git, but actually just part of GitHub. So the more you know. Most UI hosted tools have some sort of like idea of pull request though. Bitbucket and all that jazz also have it. So git ignore, if you're using Node, the first thing you're going to add is Node modules. If you're building stuff, you probably want to add dist or build. And what these are going to do is this is just going to exclude all of this stuff from being pushed to Git. Let's go back and grab another extension again. And we're going to go grab, what is it? Hide Git. Oh, git lens. That's one we want to grab. Hide git ignored. This is it. Cool. Go away, git lens. Let's just hide this for a sec. So what this will do is let's just install this. This is going to hide all the stuff that's in our git ignore. So hide git. Let's also git ignore our .vs code file. So you can see it hides them. So it's nice. Don't have to see all of our little built files that we don't care about. Don't have to see our nodejs. And now that we've added those, let's change this to tree. Now that we've added all that, we can now see that our source control, git, and all that jazz is only picking up a handful of files now. So you can see it's got a lock file, which contains all of our dependencies pinned to exactly what they are. So when we install Express, let's say I install Express and then you go to install node dependencies on this repo. If we didn't have a lock file, when you installed Express, it would go, okay, well, you want Express 4.18.1 caret, right? That, or I think that's a caret, whatever that symbol there is. That symbol there denotes that this can actually go up by a minimum version. So we can end up on 4.18.2. 4.18.3 and a bunch of other things like that can happen, and it means that you don't get the exact version that I have. You could also end up getting Express 14.18.1, but maybe some of its dependencies are also like 4.18 dot whatever with a little thing. They might also not be the exact version. With the package lock, this ensures that we get the exact version that everybody else on the team is using. They actually even come with like a SHA-512 to make sure that they are the exact thing, and it lists all their dependencies and all that jazz. So that way you know you're getting the same dependencies everybody else is getting. It's going to commit our package file, it's going to commit our ignore file, and it's going to commit our source code. So let's just init. Boop. Oh, actually we have to add all our changes first. Now they're actually staged. Oh, we have to add a git user. Git config. Actually, I think we can just do git GUI. Yeah. And then we can go options. And then we can go, so for this repo, or do we want globally? Let's just, for now, I'm just going to set it on this repo. I'm going to set my username to Luna. And for this, I don't think I need to set an email. Or maybe I do. I don't have an email set up at the moment that I use for Git. So let's see if this works. Okay, we do have to set up an email. Let's... Let me change my screen to this. Okay, I think I have it sorted now. Found one of spare domains that I can use. Because I think like I only have my work account set up and I don't really want to use my work account for this. Okay, so if we go git log, we can see me, and we can see that we initialize that, and we now have a commit. So let's see, what do we want to do next? For one, let me go add semicolons to everything because it's going to drive me up the freaking wall not having these. Next thing is we can see if we actually hover over Express, we don't actually have any of these typed. The other thing is let's rename these to request and response. I just like having them named as the full words, so that way you actually know what the hell these things are. App, that can be called app instead of that, and let's just call this create app. Just makes it easier to work out what's going on. Let's grab an environment variable. Let's wrap that in string, and then let's make this a number. So what we're going to do here is this port now becomes either a port that we pass environment variable or port 3000. And then from there, we wrap it in a number. This way we're using double question mark. So we can say if this is null, so if it's not set, use 3000. If it is set, then use it. And the reason we don't want to use this is, let me check, but I believe... Okay, no, that is fine. I was going to say, if they set it to 0, we that should be fine. We can use either of them. Okay. So that'll go there, and then port will go here, and this will listen on this specific port, and then we'll start our example app up. Now, these here aren't typed at all, which is annoying me, so let's go and grab types, node, and let's also grab express. So now, ta-da, these are now typed. So we now actually have typings available and we have IntelliSense available. This is the main reason between this and the types, the type safety. This is one of the bigger reasons I use TypeScript, because you can see we now have all of this available, just straight, easy access. We can find out what's what. If we want to go and use console dot, we can go and find out what exactly these are. Really, really, really easy. And you can even you can find out what other methods they're for, and you can go and have a look through the libdom and all that if you need to find out about almost anything and everything. So just makes it really easy to find stuff. Hope everybody's enjoying the stream so far. Also, I got some new little emote thingies for my my channel points. There's now a little coin icon thingy for them. Oh, hey Sky. We're just learning coding. If you want to learn coding, you can watch, and then you'll be a coder. It'll be fun. Fun for the whole family. Okay, yeah, you can go sleep. It's fine. All right, so now that we've got this, another little thing I'll show you guys is I don't think I have Soundlet set up. Yeah, because I redid my OBS, so I'm really sorry that I didn't play. Oh, hey, cutie. Hope you're enjoying your Valorant. I'm just drinking and teaching people to code. Or people how to uncode, I don't know. We spent like 10-15 minutes just trying to get Node installed because the installer for Windows is a piece of shit, and oh, so it's better because Nix is here. Okay, I see how it is. Okay, so another thing I'm going to show you guys is this is coming up saying that it's not declared. A little trick that you do in JavaScript is just use underscores for things that aren't used. And that means that, like, yeah, I know it's there, but I'm not going to use it. And you could also even just call it underscore, but I leave the name there so that way you can just remove it if you ever need to use the actual variable. What's another thing we can do? Another little fancy thing we can do is if you do, I think it's how you do it in Windows. I might be wrong here. Oh, no, I think that is. Okay, so yeah, that's how you do it in Windows. You got in trouble by Nightbot. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. I'm sorry. Oh, that is fucking hilarious, though. um, I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, if we start it again, okay, that did not set. How the fuck do we set it in Windows? Let's go check this. Windows set env. PowerShell. Yeah, no, that's like straight up what I did, I swear to God. Is that not what I did? Oh, it was big, okay. Fucking case sensitive my ass. Still. Why are you starting on 3000? Wait, how are you timed out? Yeah, VIP shouldn't be affected by bot rules. I literally haven't touched the bot rules since I made it. I don't know. I will go and check the bot after. I also don't know why the fuck this is not working, because this should be setting the port. Which is interesting, so... Things just aren't going proper on this fucking stream. Oh, I know what it is. We probably have to do npm run build first. Because we are using TypeScript. Hey, there we go. Why are you so stressed? Did you see my new little icons, my little emotes I now have? I have like a bubble and an egg and like an astro squid and a lurk squid. I'm sorry you're stressed. Do you like my little emotes though? They're so cute. I've got other ones coming, but like Discord's, not Discord, Twitch is like, oh, we have to hold them just in case they're sus. So, there's more coming. Okay, so yeah. We now have web server running, and if we go check, web server now run on port 4000. Woo! Okay, what if we wanted to have TS up rerun this every time, so like a dev mode, instead of having to rerun build every time ourselves? One, we can do a little fancy thing of pre-start, and this is basically just going to run something before start runs. So now if we run start, it ensures that build gets run first. That's nice. That's nice. But if we go and change something and save it, shit all happens, right? Like, save that, go back. It still says hello world. Not really that helpful. We have to keep starting and restarting, and like now it says it, like, yay, but like, eh. What if we could just magically make it do it whenever we type shit and then press save? Well, that's where the watch mode comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a script called dev. And dev is going to be our development script. And it's just going to be ts up with the watch command. Source, index, ts. And then instead of running start, we're going to run dev. And then we're going to write the command correctly. Okay. So it is now going to watch for changes in the directory. And it's going to ignore git modules and dist. So if we go and have a look. Oh, okay, I know what the problem is. We then need to have it run something. So on success, right? Success. Yes. I think it's like this. And then we'll do node. Oh, actually, yeah, node dist. Can we just do npm run start? No, because we don't want pre-start to run. Okay, so we'll just do node dist index.js. That should be correct. Essentially, we want it to run our server once. Okay. Like this, maybe? Hey, there we go. Okay. So we use backslashes just to escape the double quotes, because apparently it needs double quotes. And what this is doing is it's just watching the directory. Anytime changes happen, it's then going to rebuild and then run the node start script for us. So if we go have a look, oh, that's 3,000. Let's go to 4,000. Okay, so our script's now running. Whoa, yay, everything's back. Good, perfect. And then if we go and change this and hit save, it rebuilds for us. And it builds very freaking fast. Like, I'm talking milliseconds, which means our server comes back almost instantly, which makes a very, very good user experience. So we can, for example, let's say we want to start making our API now. So we're going to do API, and then we're going to do /user. Let's build an entire user application. We'll add like all that kind of jazz. So we get our request, we get our response. Now, what this here is a callback. What this here is a string. What this here is also a function. It's a callback function. What's going to happen is we're going to go to this path, and then we're going to run this function. It's going to call it back. And one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to do a response dot send dot one. Oop, there we go. So now if we go and have a look, API, user, what was it? There we go, 1. Perfecto. So we now have a response shown. How about we go and drop that in, let's go and create how we want to structure our directories. Let's do it this way. And what we're going to do is express promise router. We're going to go grab this promise router, which will allow us to do stuff like just return a promise or throw a rejection, that kind of thing. And that way it makes it easier to just handle things. I'll explain it a bit more in a sec. Let's go grab this. Boop. Did that just straight up not copy that? Copy. Yeah. Let's install Express Promise Router. And then we just want to go and okay. Okay, and that should be a router. Yep. Okay, so this is going to create a router for this route, and then this is going to be the slash. We're then going to go to user, create index.ts. Gonna do the same thing. For this, we're going to do actually, let's just change this to user. And we're going to get rid of the get directory. We'll put it all in here and we'll move this up. We don't need that many directory levels. We can just do it with like this. Okay. So we'll create this as like router. Yeah, let's just export this as user router. So we'll have a get route, we'll have a post route, a delete route. So create read update, because this is a CRUD app, right? That's essentially what we're making. So create read update is patch put, I guess. Oh, let's just use put and we'll just do it over the top replace of everything. So patch, you're meant to actually place in place objects. So if you have a user, you replace the user object piece by piece by piece by piece that you change. With put, you meant to just replace the entire user object with whatever the client sends through. We'll just do the more naive way and then we can change it later on. So this gives us all our endpoints. If we were to go and, oh, that's another thing we should grab. Insomnia. Is it just called like Insomnia? That's it, Insomnia REST client, that's what I'm looking for. Download app, I just want, thank you. So Insomnia is similar to Postman. And you're more than welcome to use Postman. It's just Postman, in the times that I've used it, has just been so far behind on things. Like, for example, they didn't have GraphQL schema support until maybe like 3 months ago or something. Like, it was super, super recent. And yet Insomnia had added it like maybe a month or two after users started asking for it. So I just prefer Insomnia at this point. I was hoping this is going to be a bitch to install. The other thing is you should also get used to not just using Postman all the time, because if you just use Postman, you'll get used to using Postman itself and not how to use tools like this. If you switch between tools over time, it means that you can easily jump between them if you need to. Otherwise, you get stuck. Okay, so this is Insomnia. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pop in localhost 4000 API user. Boop. Couldn't connect. Okay. Because it's not running. That's fine. Start by server. We have all our routes now. Let's go into here. Let's go app.use API user. And then let's just drop in our user router. So this is going to use this router here, ///// on /API user. So if we have a look, app is now running. We go back here and start. We now get our 1. And we can go to post. We can go to put. We can go to delete. And if we go to patch, we get an error because we never actually added it. Head, we should get response because there's a get response. Your head should mimic your get response plus no body. Well, I guess minus body. So let's first start off with user. Yeah, let's just call it user. So we'll also have user, and then we'll also have like user, like whatever their ID number is, or I guess we'll probably use UUIDs actually. So we should probably also add this one here. We should probably also add like ID, right? Okay, so let's just straight up create an in-memory map for users. This is going to hold a user. And it's going to hold them by their UUID. So what this will be is, so we've now got a user map. This is going to essentially be our database. Or let's just go user model. Right? That's essentially going to be our database connection. Normally we would not have that in memory, but for this exercise, it doesn't really matter. And we can always move to Redis later on through the night. It's only 7:30 tonight at the moment. I could easily be up for the next few hours, so not going to be an issue. Let's start off with this. We need to give them an ID, and that's going to be a string. They need to have a username. It's going to be a string. It's not going to be whatever the hell that just tried to change to. They need a password. It's going to be a string. The password, we're not going to be doing hashing or anything like that. We will come back to that at a later date when I do passport.js and all the rest of that jazz. I'm going to do a user authentication stuff a bit further. Maybe we'll touch on password stuff and hashing today. I don't know. But for now, it's just going to be the actual password and the actual username and the actual ID that they have. So this user model, let's say for the read all users, read one. So for the read all, let's go and say that we're just going to go user model dot values so that's just going to send all our users down. Let's just go and have a look. You see we get literally nothing, and if we go here and try and go back to our main, we get an object. And that's because we're having an iterable iterator. We're not actually returning an array. So to get an array, we just need to spread our iterator through. Now we get an array back. That might sound a bit weird, but essentially what an iterable iterator is something that can be iterated through. An array is also one of those things. So while an array can be an iterable is not an array. So we just spread the iterable through this and it creates an array for us. That's all you really need to know. You can see the user array type here, whereas if we just had values, you can see it's an iterable iterator. Just one of the intricacies of JavaScript. So we have users. Let's add a user. User model dot set. Let's do ID and then user. So to set a user, it's going to need to be of type user. So it needs to have a user and ID, a username and password. Right? Let's also maybe add email address, but let's make this optional. So what the question mark says is email, while it could be a string, it also might just not be set. And we can confirm this by the fact it still doesn't require email here, but it did require these three. So user here is typed as nothing, and we can tell that user isn't complaining that it doesn't have extra values that it should have. So what we're going to do is we're going to type user as user. This way, when we pass it in, it confirms that, yeah, it's perfectly okay to actually set this because this is a user at this point. It's here at which point it needs to be fixed. And it also means that if we do control space, we now get IntelliSense. Whereas if we removed this and came here and did control space, it's just going to suggest like everything everywhere. I don't even know why these are in the suggestions. It really doesn't help anybody. But let's just type it and have a look. So ID, let's set our ID in here. Now, shorthand for setting an object field inside of an object is you can just call it. So you could do ID, but you can also just do ID. That's the exact same thing. Shorthand, much easier. The username and the password. Let's just go ahead and define these up here. So the username is going to be the request body username. Does this type the request body? I don't believe so. Oh, it does. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Can I just do underscore, comma? Like, what's it expecting as a secondary? I I think I can type the request response here. So if I just do there we go. That's the one I want. So this one here, if I, yeah. Partial user. Perfect. Okay. So what we've just done here is we've just set some generics. What we have here is not really sure what these ones. This TypeScript integration here really is hard to read. Something user. That's the query string, and that's the, I don't know what that last record is, but this here is our partial user. The reason we're setting it to a partial is because as much as I want to hope that the body has a user in it, there's a possibility that they straight up just didn't include it, or they put other strings or whatever and what have you and whatnot. So we need to just not assume that it's actually going to be set. So what we will need to do is, if username, we'll also make sure to trim this. Do the same thing with password. So if there's no username, we're just going to throw a new error. The error we're going to throw is body must contain container. Must contain username. And you notice we're repeating ourselves here. So one thing to do in coding is to not repeat yourself constantly. We can keep doing this. We can then do another check for another thing, another check for another thing. But another easy way to do this. I haven't started recording. You can ask questions as much as you want. I plan on just streaming all of this to Twitch. I think I've got VODs on. If I don't have VODs on, then this is just going to be a practice run. If I have VODs on, then my plan is to take it from Twitch and then re-record the parts once I'm not drinking alcohol, and then upload those to YouTube. To have this is kind of just like a go run thing. But I don't know, alcohol is starting to affect English. Electron, what's your questions? What's going on? So we're building a yeah, good question. We're building an API, an Express. You can see our original files here. I don't know when exactly you left. This is our original hello world. We now have a port working, which we can set via an environment variable, which is really nice. We are also, I don't know why that's pulled in. We're also using a user route now, which we're going to set up here. We have imported the Express promise router. Express promise router just makes things, so if I just type in Express promise router, it makes things easier, because normally what you would have to do is if you called reject normally, shit would just break all over the fucking place. Whereas if you do it when you've got this promise router, you can actually call promise reject and all that jazz just by itself, which means you can do stuff like this. It makes it really simple to be able to do things. So enough about that. We've added a type for users. Starting to get a bit more into the TypeScript stuff now. So let me pull that down. We're starting to add our CRUD routes now. We're going to base this database off just a in-memory user model off of a map. And then later on, we're probably going to... the error doesn't end the program. Yeah, so in normal Express, if you throw an error in the wrong place, Node just crashes. And or your error gets swallowed and it's just gone. Off into the ether, the response never gets called, just nothing happens, and who knows what just happened in your application? Nobody. So with this, it makes things a hell of a lot easier. It also means that we can use rejections and promises and all that nice new fancy async await stuff. So yeah, we've got a user model that's just in memory. We're probably gonna move to Redis, maybe Postgres, might look at some MongoDB. I'm really not sure why a lot of programming stuff, especially on Twitch, It shows a lot of NoSQL stuff with MongoDB. MongoDB is nice, but it's also not used much. Comparatively to a lot of these older SQL based databases, you're going to find yourself really locked into only new places that use Mongo. Mongo is also a lot heavier, more expensive to scale, more expensive to run. You run into a lot of mistakes because of how easy it is a lot of the time in the schema modeling and stuff. You're also locked into things like Mongoose, which is, in my opinion, an absolutely terrible library. And if you're not using Mongoose and using something like Mongo itself, it's really not that easy to get the objects in and out typed properly to the point where you can have nice type safety even in something as much as like TypeScript, let alone in just normal JavaScript. So what we're about to do is, you shouldn't repeat yourself. So we're about to turn this into a higher order function, level function. SQL isn't better, but not learning SQL first means that you don't have any disciplines that languages like SQL and like all the rest of these, even like with Redis with key value store, any type of database, if you're just using NoSQL and you're just willy-nilly slapping models around, it means you don't learn a lot of these other disciplines that most other databases use. So the second you go to use another database, you try and do it the way that you're used to, and you're like, what the fuck, none of this works, none of this makes any sense. And because of that, you really screw yourself. So I don't mean to say like you need to learn SQL like through and through, but just like completely going all in on a NoSQL straight off the bat really corners yourself. And like hosting for NoSQL, like for Mongo, is also like more expensive and such as well. So there's also that. Okay, let's do this as body required body arg. Build name. Make this a string. And then we're going to pass in, oh, actually we'll pass this in first. I'll explain all this in just a second. Yeah, no, that should be fine. We'll do type guarding after. So this here, we can now do request. And then we want username. Ugh. And password. And because the way we wrote this, we don't actually even need to do that twice. We can go required. Actually, let's just do guard equals, oh, bodyguard. Haha, bodyguard. But I mean like guarding the body of the thing. So if we do this and this, what will happen now is if we don't have these, they will then be they will then throw this error. What we might do is yeah, that might make more sense. So if I add that here, what we should really be doing is also have that return the field. That'll help. Const field equals And then if there's no field, we throw an error, and then we'll return the field. And then what we can do is go const username is equal to and then this way, oh, so the type is any, so field will be, actually let's add in a generic here to check what the type is as T. And let's set this to unknown by default. So our username will be a string and our password will be a string. And we need to move this to here. So what we've gone and done is we've basically just told require body field that whatever we pass through, it's either going to be set as unknown if we don't set anything, or if we set a type, a generic, and when we pass through, it'll be set as that. So this way we know this is going to be a string, this is going to be a password. And they'll only be set through to these if they actually exist, because this does a check to make sure the field exists. So that way we can be ensured by the time we get to our user creation part here, our username is set, our password is set, our ID is set. Now our ID is currently nothing. What we should probably do for this is we need a UUID. So we're just going to pull in random UUID from crypto. This is a built-in library in Node, and it generates a RFC 4122 specific. This actually explains how the UUIDs are all generated and what they look like and all that jazz. So if you really want to read, you can go look up the RFC. So a quick tidbit, RFCs. This is a request for comment. This is how the entire internet exists. If you want to go and like have like a say on how the internet is built, you can go and have a look at all the different standards, and you can go and like write mailings to the people on the mailing list, and you can ask them to change shit. Like, this is straight up how HTTP works. You can just be like, oh, how does HTTP work? It works like this. It just tells you how everything works in HTTP, and everybody that wants to use it, that works into like compatible with each other. You want to break a browser that works with HTTP, you just follow this guide, and yeah, you can then do it. Real helpful, real handy. Okay, we still have no users, but we have this create endpoint where we can create a user. Let's just send a request to this. We get an error because I bet you our request body doesn't exist. Now, the reason that doesn't exist is because we're not actually express body, or actually let's do express.js because I'm pretty sure it's on their main page. We need to get like basic routing. Yeah, no, that's all well and good, but where's the thing about Body parser. This is what we need. Is it just body parser we need? Yeah, that's it. It's just body parser.json that we need. And that's just imported from Express, right? Oh, no. Oh, okay, yeah. So just imported from Express. Okay. So we will just import pass JSON. And then we just need to make sure that runs. Actually, we could probably do that at this level. The reason I'm changing the name of this is just because like JSON, that doesn't really give us a descriptive of what the fuck this actual function does, but pass JSON does. Or let's do middleware. That actually tells us what it is doing. Let's rearrange this a little bit. config create application routes. Web server. Also, if you have any more questions, by the way, just feel free to ask. You don't need to wait for me to have like a specific time or anything. I'm a-okay to answer questions the whole way through. It's kind of what this is for. Let's have a look. If we go and do another request. Yay, it didn't do anything. That is probably correct, because I don't think we actually, yeah, we didn't actually do anything at the end. But that does mean if we go to or not, that's also fine. Was that, oh, you know what? That's probably what's doing it. Okay, so if we go there, we go here. Body must contain username. There we go. We did it, people. Okay. Let's go add a JSON response, JSON body. Let's go add username. Username. Okay, let's just add username Luna. Hey, username body must contain password. Secret password 123. Remember, you got to add the 123, otherwise it's not super secret. People will guess it then. And you can see nothing happens now because we actually didn't we didn't respond at the end. And you can see they're all being lolled here. So let's just do a response.send. Okay. Perfect. Not so perfect, because I bet you that just added a boatload of times. Let's call this add new user. Let's duplicate. Get all users. Let's change this to a post. Let's do nobody. Let's just do a get to the main endpoint. Hey, would you look at that? Look at all the Lunas. And if we get an ID, and if we go here and we go just get one, we get one. So let's fix that. First things first, I'm the realist. No. Let's go here and let's just do the exact same thing that we were doing before, but with one user. User model get. Let's grab the ID that they want to use. Quest.params.id. And then we'll just do not request, just ID. So this is going to try and get the user. And then we're going to send the user back. If there's no user, what we should probably do is throw new error. We're going to add proper error handling in a minute. And what that'll allow us to do is we'll be able to do through HTTP error 404 and then a message instead of just error. That'll allow us to assign an actual HTTP code when we throw an error. So for this, no user found with ID. Let's do ID equal to, and then let's just put that in there. So if we find the user, we'll send it to them. If not, we're just going to be like, bro, I don't know. No user. And see, this is the issue. We don't want this to send a 500. This should be sending a 404. The other thing we should be doing is we should be checking to see if this is currently asking for HTML, if this is asking for, so as you see, this is asking content type. Actually, no, I think that's not asking. I think is it accepts? So I don't think it's actually asking for any specific type, and it's just auto defaulting to HTML. So yeah, it accepts anything. So it's just sending HTML by default. What we should be doing is on the API endpoint if you're asking for nothing, we should be sending JavaScript, JSON by default. If you ask for HTML, we should send you HTML. So if you go to the API endpoints in the browser, you get HTML back. But that way you can grab JSON responses and we can have something return like a JSON object that has status and a message, for example, if we do have an error. Okay, enough rambling. Let's go and get a single user. Or user, sorry. And we can see we get everything. Do we have a way we can add variables some way in... I always forget if there's a way to add variables in this. A tutor. You know, I've never tutored anybody and I have absolutely no clue where to start, but I'm more than happy to help people. Actually, let's see if I can do this. Let me just change my screen to something for 1 sec. Okay, I have a Discord. If you want to join that, that should be the right link. If you want to join that, basically I'm going to be building this entire thing into like a series called Learning with Luna and a Discord with it. And I'm going to be giving out basically free help to people. I'm not building people's work for them, but I'm more than happy to help people wherever they need. I'm more than happy to answer questions that people have. I have sections in Discord. This is the Discord here. Can't show you everything, but this is the Discord. Essentially, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to have a bunch of areas that people can go and use. We have a bunch of ideas in here. If you want to make an idea for a video, then I can add you here, and then you can add you as a member. I'm also going to have Nightbot set up soon, so then if you're a subscriber, you get access to other areas as well, like purely one-on-one help, that type of thing, if you really, really need it. But for the most part, everything should just be more or less free. This here is what I was talking about. This is my current series that I'm building right now. And we're going to have other things like here, Twitch to Discord connections, Discord bots, Twitch bots, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to make sections for and full guides from start to end because honestly, they're not that difficult to do. I just feel a lot of people don't have the knowledge because nobody's made free guides for anybody when they should. It's not that difficult of a thing to teach either. At least I don't believe it is. Sorry for the rant. God, alcohol. So one thing we should probably do here is we should probably check if the ID is already used. If user model has ID, then actually not has ID. I guess we would actually probably need to actually check if the user model has the dot value and no keys dot find. Let's move this into a variable. Username taken. That would be that we can't even use that. We'd have to use values, I guess, and then we'll just have to pull the username out. So, well, actually, let's not just pull the username out. Let's use the whole user here. So we can do user.username is equal to username. So if we find a user that has the same username as the person that's trying to sign up, then username already taken. Now, you do have to be careful with things like this. In some cases, this can be used for people to then brute force your site to work out all the usernames that exist. So if you build this, for example, with email saying the same thing, like email is already used, people can basically get emails and then just iterate through this endpoint and check if your email has already been used on this site. sites like Facebook now prevent people, as soon as they try and hit with more than 1 or 2 emails one after another, they'll then ask for like verification and shit from your IP address, because they believe you might be trying to check if a bunch of emails are all valid and or owned by certain users. The other thing they tend to do on Facebook is when you put an email in, they'll show your name as well as your image, which means they can then check if certain emails belong to certain people. So if you're looking for privacy, security, that kind of thing on your site, maybe that's not the best thing to do. Maybe it's best to show some other type of error here. And or put rate limiting in. So it's adding a little bit of documentation so everybody knows what's going on here. So with this, if we try now and check. So since we restart the application, you can see it reset everything again. So if we try and add a user, we get okay. Try and send a user again. We get username is already taken. And if we go back to our all users, we can see Luna's now set. So even though we don't have a database set up that has unique constraints that can check things like this, we can do a quick, easy check on our client side in our business logic to ensure that this is all valid. Now, granted, in a real application, you probably wouldn't do this, but if you're doing something that does do stuff with memory objects, like objects in memory like this, then maybe it's okay in this specific case. One instance where this might come up, for example, is let's say you're handling something in the user's session. Now, the user's session might have an array that maybe, or a map in this case, that will have something like this in it. And maybe that's where you want to use this type of check to be able to check that, do they already have something set? Like maybe they already have like, I don't know, coupons or something they have, or like items in their shopping cart or something. You don't want to keep adding the same thing to the shopping cart over and over and over again. So this would be a way to avoid that. Or maybe they can only use a code once or something in their session. So now we have the create route. We have the read all route. We have the read one route. We should probably add the update route. So for the update route, we do want to use an ID. For the delete route, we want to use an ID. So for the update and delete route, they're kind of going to be this exact same thing, more or less. Let's also have this respond with the user. With the... and the reason we're going to do this is I want to show you a little flaw in just returning the user object directly like this. Because we've also done the same thing here. You probably noticed we actually return the password. So let's say somebody signed up and then some developer wants to go and get all the users. You probably don't want to give them the password for users, even if it is hashed. That's just bad. That's not going to float. So what you want to do is pull out fields that shouldn't be there, or just don't query them in the first place. So a good way to do this is, let's say we have a user model. So for our read one here, what we can do is we can go equals user. And we want to put out the username, the ID and the username, right? Now the ID is already going to be set. We already know that, and it should match. So that'll be fine. So we have the username, and let's say we also want to pull out the email. What we could actually do is create a new object and then resend it like this. So that way we have the user, we deconstruct username and email out of it, and then we reconstruct a new object here with just those two fields. So for ease of sake, I think this is probably what we're just going to do everywhere. The one issue is what happens when we go and read all. So what we can actually do is here, we can actually map this. And this is where we can do username, or ID, I guess, and username. And then we can map this over to a new object here with ID and username. And what this will do is this will give us back a user object, but it will only have ID and username now. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the same change. And this we shouldn't have to set because it should be pulled up there. Actually, we might be able to just send it like this. Email, let's add email as request body email. Actually, it can just be undefined if it's not set. That is well and truly fine. Okay, so for our update route, let's get the ID. We then need to user model dot update, or actually we can just set. This can just set it on top of the existing record that exists. So for that, we want to go and actually, we probably want to go and copy a fair bit of this. So we will need, since this is completely overriding it, we will actually need all of this. We'll actually also need to check if the username is taken by another user, so that user can't override the other user that has the username. So this will do this, and then if username is taken and username taken dot ID is not equal to us, actually no, yeah, if it is taken, then we'll throw that error because we'll be changing it to something else. Yes, that'll be fine. And then here we're going to end up just setting the ID and the user, and we're going to end up just creating yeah, it's more or less the exact same thing. Actually, I think it is the exact same thing, because in this case we're setting it, oh, it's just not using a random ID, that's all. Yeah, that's more or less exactly the same. It's just not using the random ID. Okay, so let's just copy paste this exactly as is. And then we'll just change this to ID. So what it's going to do is this is essentially going to do the same thing as a create, but it's just going to override based on the ID. And the reason that's fine is because we're doing in memory and because we're using a put, not a patch. So it can just do an in-place override. So we can see we do that. Username's taken every time. If we go back here, we can see we're just getting the ID and the username. When we create that, we also need to send back the ID. What we should probably do is do as user. So that way we make sure we return all of those that we need. If we do as user here. As user. Okay, so we probably don't need as user then, I guess, because it's not even type checking. Oh, that's right, because as user doesn't type check, it's colon user that does. That's annoying. It's an issue with TypeScript, I guess. It's just one of the ways that it does it. And for delete, let's just go and do a user model dot delete. And then we're just going to pass in the ID for that as well. Oh, this isn't a bodyguard. This actually needs to come from request params ID. And then we'll just do response dot send. Yeah, I guess we'll just send an okay. Okay is essentially what you send when like everything's a-okay. Like a 200 response. Let's try this. So we've got nothing. If we add a user, you can see you get the ID and the username back. If we go and grab that ID, send another response, we can see we get an issue because they're taken. If we then duplicate, get single, or just get user, I guess. Then we just slap that in there. We get Luna back. And if we get all users, we get an array with Luna. See the difference here? And then if we duplicate this and update user, I'm gonna just rename this to add user. So update user, let's change this to a put. Let's run this. Username already taken. So we should be able to have it as the one that we already have. So yeah, I think we did actually need that check. If there's username taken and username taken dot ID is not equal to our ID, throw that error. But if it is us, then that's fine because we should be able to still, yeah, there we go. We should be able to have the same username that we had when we first created the user. But if we go here and we go and add another user, we get error taken. If we go here and let's say, for example, I go and change my password, that's going to work. If I go and change to Luna is awesome. You can see my ID is the same. So I'm still the same person, same account or whatever it is, but my username has changed. So if I go in here and have a look, we can see it now changed. Now, the last thing we have to do is go and create our delete user. And I believe we've already done this, so we don't need a body for this. We just need to do a delete request to this query here. So if we go and have a look, we have our user, do delete user, we get an okay back. We go and have a look, we have no users anymore. If we go get our specific user, user doesn't exist. So we now have a fully working API. The only thing we're missing now is the fact that our responses are handled incorrectly. So what I'm thinking we do for this is we actually add a error class. So what we might do now is let's just feature. Let's add everything. Let's go have a look. What did we add? We added in some types. We added in our scripts. We added a bit more of the actual web server in. We added our API route. And we added our basic user API route. So let's just say basic user API route. Okay, so let's go create another file. We're going to call this error, HTTP error. So we're just going to extend error here. And this is going to have a constructor, which is going to call super with a message. And we're going to have a private, actually probably a public message string. But before that, we're going to have HTTP code string. And that one's probably just going to be a private status code. Yeah, that'll work. Actually, I have trying to think somewhere here. I have which one is it? Something has. Is it in this? Common. Nope. Nope. Come on. Here we go. This one I'm looking for. This makes it really easy to use. We just need this. Nope, not MPMI. MPMI readable HTTP codes. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to have a nice little error class that we can use. And its first parameter is a code that is going to be read-only public. Let's just save this. So what we can now do is... crap. What repo was that we got that from? Crappity crap. Okay. Promise, express, router. How do you want to do error handling? Oh yeah, you can use this as a top level router as well, which is really nice. Yeah, hey, this is what I was gonna say. So what we can do is so this would be error, request, response, next. This will be here in HTTP error. Ooh, is it exported? Yes. This will be a request from Express. This will be a response from Express. This is the next function from Express. I don't know why that's not typing properly for some reason. The last type annotation is just not coming through. This here comes from here. I'm not really sure why everybody types everything shorthand, because it just makes it harder for anybody to try and read that doesn't know English, for example. If somebody's using like a translator, or if you're just having a hard day and you're just like not there with it fully, your brain's not going to completely catch up and remember everything. And you're going to end up screwing yourself and be like, what the hell's going on? And they'll be like, oh, it's spelt wrong, or I was using like request instead of response or whatever because using rec instead of res. And it's easy if they just recall the word they're meant to be. And for new people that are just learning what request and response is a lot easier than learning what the hell rec and res is. You make a request, you get a response. It's not super difficult. And if error instance of HTTP error, then what we're going to do is we're going to return error .code. What are you talking about? Record number. No, these should just be... They should all just be a number. Why is it coming in and saying they could be on a record and such? Pretty sure these are all just numbers. Oh, that's why, because there's also all status codes. That's really freaking annoying. Okay. Let's type this as number. Oh, we can't. Crap. Can we type this as number? Yes, okay, we'll just do that. Because it should be a number. It shouldn't be get status text or a record. It should actually be a number from the status that we're going to be using. And then after this, we're just going to do 500. So if we have a special fancy error, then it will try and use one of our special fancy codes. Otherwise, I'm going to send an error with just the message, whatever the error is, I guess. That should be fine. Let's start up a process again. That's neater. No full stack trace anymore. And we see we get a 500 there. That is fine. If I now go to our route, and anytime we have a new error, HTTP error. Don't know why this isn't. Are you just like not gonna suggest an import? Okay, TypeScript, thanks. It's not like I wanted help or anything. Yeah, and then required body. So if you require source code required field in body. No, not status code inside. Yeah, 422. Yeah, 422. Okay. So we're gonna send a. Is it really not just gonna prompt us for the code? No. Okay, we're gonna make this better later, but let's just send a 422 for this. Okay, so new user ID found. Where's the other error? There. Okay, so user already taken. That would be a... Trying to think, what is a username taken status code? Yeah, 409. Yeah, I think a 409 would probably be correct. This here would be a 404. This also be a 409. So if I go new error, we shouldn't be getting any new errors. There should be no new errors in this. So if we now send this, hey, 404 not found. There we are. We get all users, we get a 200. If we go and delete a user, we get okay, but that's fine. Delete should probably do some sort of check and all that, but that's fine. We go and add a user, we get 200, then we get a 409. Perfect. Oh, absolute brilliant. That's exactly what we wanted. I hate the fact that that's now like permanently stuck there now. Okay, fine, that's gone. You know, that's exactly what we want. So that way we get back a correct HTTP response header, get back the message. What we probably want to do is have this do like status 500 message. Ooh. And the same thing for you, but we'll do you as... Actually, what we can do is just do status is equal to I think that'll work. And then status. So it'll either be set as a number or it'll be 500, and that should be good. Boop. Yep. Boop. Yeah, there we go. So if we get a 200, all is well. If we don't get a 200, then perfect. Oh, this is absolutely brilliant. I'm really, really happy with this now. So I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. I hope everybody can take like a good 5-minute break and just stretch, have a drink, all that jazz. If you're lurking, there's a new emote thingy for my lurks, so you can drop that if you want. Can't remember exactly what it's called, but it has lurk near the end, so you know, pretty self-explanatory. I am going to take a 5-minute break and just stretch and take a walk around the house, and I might actually order myself some more food. Depending on how many of you are watching currently and actively watching and want me to keep going, I will keep going. If there's only a handful of you just watching and lurking, and then maybe I'll dip. I don't know. I don't know. I also don't know if my chat's frozen or if you guys are just chatting and I just can't see it, or if nobody's chatting. The stream's going fine. Okay, I'm gonna put up my Be Right Back screen and then I'm probably just gonna be a trash panda and just get like McDonald's. I should probably get something better, but I honestly can't be bothered. And if you guys are actually decently watching, then maybe I'll just order something quick and then I can get back into it. I don't think I want to order anything big. Let me try a new Be Right Back screen and let's see if it fucking works or not. Hopefully it should be a nice new graphic thingy and there should be nice rain music in the background. We'll see. Did that work? Does that work? Is the volume level good? Etc, etc, etc. Hopefully. And hopefully everybody likes the new graphics. It's cute as fuck. Okay. Mute my mic and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Let's try this. I'm going to try and add what is it called? I'm gonna try and put Discord on. If anybody's like in the in all this and wants to like join, just let me know, and then you can come join the VC and you'll be on stream. Let's switch this back to monitor. Let's add audio application audio capture. Let's add one of those. Specific window Discord. Okay. Okay, well, Ducky, are you around? Do you want to come try a VC? If you're around and want to come try a VC, just come join. I think it should be open for everybody to join. Maybe. If I've got the permissions right. Actually, I shouldn't need to change those. If you're around, do you want to come join VC in my Discord? Just trying to check if it's working because I want to make it so people on they can come join stream essentially. If you're busy and whatnot, that's all good. That's all good. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me in Discord as well, not just stream. That's the main thing I was trying to check. Okay, perfect. So if anybody wants to join the Discord, by the way, in the VC, you don't need to stay in there if you don't want to, Ducky, by the way. But if anybody wants to, you can come join and you'll be on Twitch with me. So just figured this was easier this way. If people had questions, they can come and actually join via VC. So if you're still around Electron, you can come join VC if you wanted to. Okay, cool. So what have we got left to do on this? Because I think we've got most of it done for the most part. Let's go and have a look in our commit. So we added error handling. Let's add these two as a commit together. So people quite often ask, like, what do you put all together in a single commit? Try and think scope. Each commit should do a single thing. So for example, in this case, this single change, let's just like hide these. This will include this here, which is the index file, which includes the error handling for Express. It includes the import for the new HTTP error. And then we actually include the error as well. So in this commit, it's going to be feat error handling. I'm going to commit that. And now here we can go and add a, oh, we should probably have also committed these. This was my bad. We'll add chore, add, copy paste this, dep. And then we'll add this one here as another commit. And this will be feat, let's switch to HTTP error for routes. Actually, let's just change it to that. Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, so now we have error handling, we have a basic API route, we have all of our routes being, all the middleware for our routes handled and being passed through JSON handler, and we have our router here. So to build out a bigger app, if you wanted to add other endpoints, you would simply do the same type of thing over and over and over again for all the other endpoints. So let's say we wanted to add let's say we're doing this for a library, and we then had books that we then wanted to add, and each of these users could lend out these books and all that jazz. Well, you would then copy paste this essentially and create a book route where books could be added, and books can be like all that kind of stuff, right? The only difference between, in that case, you would add a bunch of extra checks and stuff for, has this book already been lent out? Does this person have clearance to lend out this amount of books? Is this book like within the range that they're allowed to like lend out? Like, you don't want a 5-year-old renting out like 50 Shades of Grey. So that's where you go and add all that business logic checks. But for the most part, the routes would realistically, this is realistically what almost every CRUD app you're ever going to build will look like. You have your different routes, you have guard clauses, you'll have some sort of construction of objects, you'll have checks to make sure things are everything hunky-dory, you add it to the database and you return some data. That's it. You've now learned how to build every CRUD app that ever existed ever. The only difference in some of them is they won't be JavaScript or TypeScript. They'll be ASP.NET, or they'll be C, or they'll be whatever the hell languages that you're using. That's really the only difference here. And maybe instead of using Express, maybe you'll use a different HTTP library. But again, it'll be the same type of thing. And instead of maybe this user model from here, maybe you'll have an actual database that this will connect to. Instead of getting values and stuff, maybe you'll have to do user model.find, and you'll, instead of doing this, you'll just do the find like this, but it'll be maybe you have SQL that you'll write in here or something. But again, it'll be just the same type of thing, just ever so slightly different. So if you can learn what I've written in this file, that's it. You've basically learned how to write CRUD apps. Go you. You get a little golden star. Also, those that are in the Discord, by the way, if you have any ideas for videos that you want me to make on YouTube or Twitch, just drop them in the ideas channel. I might actually wrap up streaming here tonight, just because that's kind of done everything we needed to do. There's nothing really more that we need to do on a basic CRUD app. You can take this and use this however you want. Feel free to steal the code and do whatever you want with it, including the HTTP error class. This I want to actually make better, because there's a proper way that we can make it so it can actually take the make your own version of Notepad. Oh, fuck that. I'll fork VS Code, make my own VS Code. So yeah. Oh, one thing I didn't go through is middleware. Middleware is interesting. So let's say we wanted to add a logger that logs every route. Logger middleware. So this logger middleware we're going to add in to be used on every single route. Okay? From start to end, everything. Now, what this is going to need is going to need the signature. Boop. It might be like this. Yeah. So the signature that it's going to have is request, response, next. And for now, we're just going to call next. We start our app and we go to, not that one, we go to here. Let's say we go to get all users. Right? Runs that. And we check back here. Nothing happened. Now, let's say we go and do a console log. Hi. Right? Send. Same thing. It all works. Come back here. Oh, hi got printed. Now, notice how this isn't specific to any endpoint. Now, I could have it specific to an endpoint. I could have it that, like, if you go to this specific endpoint, or if you go there via get, or if you go there via post, and it's actually the user, and like, you get what I'm saying? You can have it very specific, or you can have it the entire server. So what we can actually have here is we could have, let's say, the method request.method. And then maybe we would have request.url. Right? So we'll save this. We'll come back here. Again, runs perfectly fine. But if you look, it now logged out the URL that we're going to, as well as the method. we went and ran a delete. Again, it prints out where we're going. So this way you can make things that run between, and then as long as you're running next to the end of it, it will go along to whatever is next after it. So if we were to remove this, and then we were to try and run it, nada. Nothing happens whatsoever, and it's just going to sit there waiting until it cancels, like until I'd cancelled it, and never would have finished. But then when we call next, it can then continue on to the next thing in the stack. So one thing we could do is something like, well, maybe we just don't allow ducky as a method, right? We could then response or actually we could actually, I'm pretty sure we can even throw here, because that should be picked up by our we need to do create router equals create router, and then import this, and then this router would be for this is just an easier way to do things. Oh. I guess it'll just happen here, yeah. That'll work. This just allows us to easily use the throw. So in this case, if the method isn't that, we could do a HTTP error, and we can make this as a 500, I guess, and invalid method. So if we did a custom method of ducky and sent that, we're gonna get this should be working. We made this not work. Oh, I bet you I've done the router thing wrong. Yeah, let's... Everything needs to be on router, and then at the end you mount it up. Pretty sure that's the issue. Or not. Okay, well, we'll find out why that's not working after then. But that should be how that works. You can basically check things in line. I'm curious why that's not working. Okay, I'm gonna call it here, just because I'm exhausted at this point. But good stream, and I'll see you guys all next stream. Peace. Oh, before we end, do we have somebody we can raid? Who do we have that we can raid? I've also never done a raid before, so watch me get this completely utterly wrong how you do this. I'm gonna go disable my desktop audio, so we don't get feedback. How the hell do we even raid in the first place? Okay, that is cool. Thank you, Ducky, for the help. Trying to find somebody that we can raid. Oh, this looks interesting. Let's go raid this guy. You guys coming with?